The difference between elite and everyone else is not talent, it's not intelligence, and it's definitely not luck. It's willingness. Successful people do things that unsuccessful people won't. Period. The hard truth, what you're not willing to do is defining your leadership ceiling right now. Welcome to the Dealership War Room. I'm Chris Hunsicker and talking today live from the Mazda North America operations building here in Irvine, and got myself a little cubicle so I could find a place to break away from the coaching work that I'm doing and take some time to share with you today's thoughts and ideas. And in one of our meetings today, as we were talking, this subject came up of what are you willing to do and what are you not willing to do? And we're going to dive deep into that today and really take a look at how what you're not willing to do absolutely defines your ceiling. I have shared this with so many salespeople over the years. You tell me what you're not willing to do. Prospect, make follow-up calls, make cold calls. Tell me what you're not willing to do, and I'll tell you exactly how much money you're going to make. Because what you're willing to do defines how successful you're going to be. So let's take a moment and dive in to the single most important question you're going to ask today, perhaps this week, and maybe even this year. What are you not willing to do? Because your answer to that question determines your results. We'll break down why this is the ultimate success filter and how to identify your not willing to do list and how to make small, powerful shifts that change everything. This all started for me in 1982 in Park City, Utah. And I was listening to a cassette tape with a talk, Where Eagles Rest by Hiram Smith. Now, this is way before podcasts and way before the internet. And I wore that tape out. And in there, Hiram Smith had this quote that just locked into my mind and stayed with me forever. And he said, here's his definition of success. Because as a young man, I'm trying to figure out how to be successful. And I would listen to everything I could on personal development and success. But his definition was better than anything that I'd heard. He said, a successful person is willing to do that which an unsuccessful person is not willing to do. A successful mother is willing to do those things an unsuccessful mother is not willing to do. A successful father is willing to do those things an unsuccessful father is not willing to do. Fill in the blank. A successful sales manager, salesperson, service advisor, or fixed operations director is willing to do those things which an unsuccessful salesperson, service advisor, or sales manager is not willing to do. Success is so much less about talent and so much more about choices. Let's dive into why being willing beats being gifted every single time. I have a saying that I've used for years. If I've ever coached you, I guarantee you've heard this. You fall in love with your results or you fall in love with your excuses. Some people love their excuses so much they dress it up and they bring it out and they show it to everybody. Look at my excuse. Look at how great this is. Because they fall in love with their excuse. And they attach to that. It gets their time, energy, and effort. Other people, they fall in love with their results. Now, successful people, they always fall in love with their results. Unsuccessful people, they always fall in love with their excuses. So I'd ask you, which are you committed to? Are you in love with your results and even when they're bad, you own them, learn, pivot, adjust, and grow? Or do you fall in love with your excuses so you can take the pressure off, not have to feel the pain of change and not feel the need to grow and get better, but you can just find a way to be comfortable and to be average? In my first book, Unstoppable Culture, How to Build a Relentless, Results-Focused, High-Performance Team, I have an entire chapter on the cost of mediocrity. That when you choose to be mediocre, when you choose not to step up, when you choose to fall in love with your excuses and not your results, what's the cost? Because there is a cost to mediocrity. But if we take that onto a personal level, does it make sense that there's a cost to the phone calls that you won't make? The conversation you're not willing to have is killing your relationships, both at home and at work. The habits that you won't change are literally keeping you stuck. And you're losing out financially, you're losing out emotionally, you're losing out relationship-wise, and you're losing out health-wise. Because you're not willing to make those choices. You're not willing to do those things. So let me dive into one of the most important tools I think that I can share with you, because it's one thing to understand things that you're not willing to do. It's another thing to have a tool to get you to do those things, to have the emotional stamina to get yourself to do what needs to be done, when it needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. So I want you to think right now, what's one goal that you have in your life, professional goal, something that really matters to you? And what's one relationship that you have in your life? It's a relationship that matters to you, that you really care about. And I want you to just identify for that goal, what is one behavior, one thing you've been not willing to do, but you know you need to do? And in that relationship, what's one thing that you know you need to do, but you've not been willing to do? Do you need to forgive more quickly? Do you need to let go of something? Do you need to make some phone calls? Do you need to do some prospecting? What is that for that goal? What is that one thing that you need to do? And what I want you to do is commit today to do that one thing towards your goal and that one thing towards your relationship. Now, if you want to be elite, let me really give you an assignment. And this I share with every one of my private clients. When you work with me and I coach you as a private client, then one of the first tools that I teach you is this: how to use a not to-do list. We all know how to use a to-do list. I want to teach you how to use a not to-do list. And that is, you sit down in the morning, before you turn on your computers, go through your emails, you just take a minute when you first get to the office, or even before you get to the office, and you pull a little sheet of paper and you write down, what are 3, 4, 5 things I'm not willing to do? I do not want to do. You know that they'll make a difference, but you just don't want to do them. Anything that takes less than 5 minutes to do, you do it right now. You just get it off the table. Anything else that takes longer than 5 minutes, you schedule it that day, if possible. If not, schedule it the next day or the soonest possible day you can get it done. And then follow your commitments on that calendar. It's interesting, when we just leave it on a list, it never gets done. If you schedule it on a calendar, it gets done. And you will transform your productivity in a way that I cannot even explain to you when you are consistently every day taking those 3, 4, 5 things that you don't really want to do and you're doing them. You start to build a momentum, you start to build an integrity and a trust within yourself, and you start to build a mindset that, you know what? I can do hard things. And you build that muscle, that emotional stamina, that no matter how much you don't want to do something, you can absolutely get it done, because that's who you are. So if you want to take the initial step, pick a goal in a relationship, one thing from each, take action on them today. You want to be elite? Then starting today, write a not to-do list. And then 5 minutes, you get it done right away. More than 5 minutes, you schedule it. And then let's see what happens after 2 weeks, where the momentum you are and what you have. And with that, I will see you tomorrow in the Dealership War Room.